Parents Television Council, which has called on HBO to cancel The Idol, citing can I say this in the first 15 seconds? Torture, PORN, and SA.
Yes.
As they say. Now people who are watching the segment
sinking
are like,
into depravity. Yeah. I'm loving this language. We need to bring back like organizations like Moms Against Disney. Yeah. Like that stopped being a thing years ago. Moms Against Harry Potter. I don't care how stupid the Satanic Panic campaign is. We need to bring back the fight for obscenity laws.
As long as we get rid of Mothers Against Drunk Driving. No, I'm just kidding. Like, did you see that video of like the people getting interviewed after they find out that they're making drinking and driving illegal? It's amazing.
Really?
This guy's like in his car with like a 12-pack of beer, and he's like, this country's getting kind of communist, telling me I can't drink and drive. There's another lady who's complaining about it, and her kid's in the car with her. It's incredible. Like, it's like
Commie.
Yeah, it's like, look at these commies telling me I can't drink a 12-pack of Bud Light, and well, nowadays you can't drink a 12-pack of Bud Light anyways because you'll get made fun of. But back then, they're like, look, I can't drink a bunch of beer and go driving. What are you, a communist?
I think we need more moral fights in this country. I went to the Parents TV Council website and went to their About page. It says, the Parents Television and Media Council is a nonprofit, nonpartisan research and education organization advocating responsible entertainment. The mission of PTC is to protect children and families from graphic sex, violence, and profanity in media because of their proven long-term harmful effects. The vision of PTC is to provide a safe and sound entertainment media environment for children and families across America. I can get behind that.
Wait,
I don't know about you, Brett.
Did they mention violence? Like on-screen violence?
Graphic sex, violence, and profanity.
Look, we've had the video game debate since I was...
Look, there are some things that you shouldn't show children. Agree? I watched Walking Dead way too early in my childhood and had nightmares about it every night. You probably shouldn't show your kids ISIS beheading videos, etc. There are some things children and families should not show.
Then the parents should be doing a better job of telling these kids that it's not real.
That's true, but I hate when we have to place all the blame on parents when, especially when like unfettered internet access became a thing and the internet became like consumer friendly and accessible to everyone. They were just expected to know all of the ins and outs of it when they didn't grow up with the same medium. So like if your kids are getting exposed to like pornography, for instance, it's a matter of when, not if, at this point. You can't do enough to make sure that doesn't happen. Parental controls aside, supervision aside, like it's a matter of when they're going to be exposed to these things.
Shane Cashman doesn't have a TV in his household.
Yeah, good for him. Like that's a good thing.
That's a good thing, right? So, look, I don't know.
And it's not easy.
I find that these things that they've taken the responsibility off the parents, and a lot of the parents in our society have just given up and have turned to tablets to parent their children. And these organizations, while they might have good intentions, are often then wielded, once they gain power, end up censoring stuff that doesn't necessarily need to be censored, because the limit on what you consider censorable is going to be different for everyone. And I think it gets away from the idea that parents need to be the ones that raise their children, at least at the most formative years. When, like you said, how old were you when you watched The Walking Dead?
Like
and it was
10 to 12.
Like, your parents should maybe still be monitoring your television content at that age.
That's true. I'm not saying that's not a factor that needs to be accounted for. Like, parents obviously need to have stricter supervision over what their kids are watching, but parents also have a place in advocating for these massive media organizations to be a little more responsible with what they allow on their platforms. And I'm looking at their press releases for this, and they're saying the HBO Max platform allows kids to access TV mature rated content.
But the parents, you can make a children's account on these platforms.
Yes.
So the parents need to do that.
Sure, you can. Yeah. But I think what they're saying is that the Max platform allows kids' profiles to still access mature rated content. They also say TV critics pan Max's The Idol, calling it torture porn.
Yeah, if there's a reason to stop it, it's because it's bad.
R-word fantasies. Max markets The Idol to youth and lacks parental controls, give kids access to watch.
Advertising it on social media does not make it inherently advertised to youth, but I take their point. Like, look, everyone of every age uses social media.
But if you're advertising on Instagram, you can control with demographics who is targeted for the ad. If it includes 13 to 17.
Have they proven that? Like, I'd have to see them prove that they got an insider at
Well, we
HBO.
need Dane on the show to tell us what it's like. But you can use demographic targeted ads to get to 13 to 17-year-olds.
I just worry that when these things go the wrong way, and by the way, it's also hilarious that they call it nonpartisan. This is whether they like it or not, this is now partisan.
It is a partisan issue only because the left loves indoctrinating kids and exposing them to sexuality at too early an age. And the fact that that's become a partisan issue is on them, not us.
And this show shouldn't have been made because it's awful and it's degenerate. It's just bad.
Well, it's going to get canceled because nobody likes it, not because people care about profanity or obscenity being on TV now. So they said that HBO... Well, okay, there was a rumor that HBO already made the decision not to renew it for another season. That got debunked. But it sounds like they will anyway because they've just reduced it down from 6 episodes to 5. This whole thing...
I wonder if they just cut out the middle episode? Like, it's fun.
I don't know.
It's funnier if they just don't give them a conclusion. They just ended on 5.
People reviewing this are saying that there's been no, like, narrative movement or character development in the whole, like, 5 hours that we've been given with these characters.
It's just torture porn.
And it's just, it's just as graphic as possible.
Well, we'll have to ask Colonel Kurtz, because Colonel Kurtz is saying that... I had like a 19-minute video on it talking about like it's misunderstood, it seemed like, and you're an adult, that's fine, right? Like you're an adult and you're watching it, that's fine. Like it's not my cup of tea, but I don't give a crap if an adult watches it. I think one of the biggest hurdles these companies will ever face, and I don't think it's ever anything that's ever going to be addressed, is how you would regulate kids' access to these things, because it really does, at the end of the day, it falls on the parents. It does. Like what age you give your kids a phone, how closely you watch the things that they watch on television to make sure that they're not clicking and watching on things they can't. And it's an unenviable position because there's so much access to so much content that is so harmful to kids in a formative age. I agree with you on that. I just think it's kind of a ludicrous, like in an age where they are now, this is not the moral majority conservatism of the 90s or the 80s, right? This is now an age where you're the minority, you're not the majority. It seems like a losing battle to me, but I applaud their decision to fight for what they believe in, but I don't think that they're going to win. Like, I actually can picture the people at HBO laughing at them.
I think that the tide is turning on this. Did you see that video of this ended up being revealed in community notes to be a deepfake video, but there was this video of this little like toddler age like 1 or 2 crying and mimicking the motion of like scrolling on a tablet. Did you see that video?
No. Yes.
Yeah, that ended up being a deepfake, but it got such a wide response because there's I would say righteous and like founded in reality moral panic about kids' unsupervised, unfettered access to the internet and to media these days. And it is warping their brains. It is changing their neural pathways in irreparable ways, especially the earlier you let them on it. So regardless of whether that's a deepfake video or not, it's making a point that's salient no matter what. I want to read more from this press release that they put out. They said, PTC is calling on HBO not to renew The Idol for a second season, given the program's extreme content, nudity, essay, torture that can be harmful to young viewers. The Max platform is called on to stop marketing The Idol to youth through social media and to shore up wide gaps in its parental controls that enable youth to watch The Idol and other explicit TVMA content like Euphoria. The Idol has been rightfully panned by TV critics because each episode delves deeper into torture porn and SA. Far from enlightening, the show has sunk into such depravity that even its niche audience has clearly turned against it.
Yeah, Musings of a Crouton had a really funny video where she talks to me, ranking scenes in The Idol by how much they give me an existential crisis about the future of this country or something like this. And basically said that Sam Levinson needs to be put on a watch list.
The Weeknd needs to be put on a watch list too, because he seems to take all the criticisms of his character playing this serial abuser and cult leader to heart as if they're criticizing him, while like still wanting to maintain this distance that like, oh no, I'm playing a character that's nothing like me. I'm like the opposite of this guy in real life. When they're filming this show at The Weeknd's house, playing his music on the soundtrack of the show. They're basically making a show about The Weeknd, which is what he wanted it to be in the first place. Yeah. That's why they got rid of Amy Seimetz, the director they had in April 2022, so that they could shift the narrative of the show so it would focus more on him. He wanted this to be a character study on himself.
Yeah.
And you can say that it's like revealing the shadowy reality of the entertainment industry, but you're implicating yourself because this is you're starring someone in the music industry.
You're saying that like if he didn't take it so seriously, you wouldn't be as suspicious,
right?
Like if he wasn't so upset. I mean, that could also, like, I don't know if he has any history in acting, but before, like, if you're criticizing his music, you're criticizing his art, right? Like something that's very core to his personality. It may be harder for him to separate.
He hasn't done any acting for this show.
It may be harder for him to separate the fact that like that's a character he's playing, and he's like he thinks that they're criticizing his performance and not just the depravity.
It just
of it.
seems like The Weeknd doth protest too much.
A little bit too much,
you know?
Right? Yeah. Yep.
Also, Lily Rose Depp has no singing experience, so she's playing a pop star, has already put out a song.
Sounds
called
just like
World Class Sinner / I'm a Freak for the soundtrack of the show. And it's like they're teaching each other how to do things that they each haven't done before. But like the song that they made with her character Jocelyn is supposed to be a parody of all of the songs that come out that are like trying way too hard to be like sexy and provocative, but actually are just exactly what you expect from pop stars these days. But then it came off as like too close to reality. Yeah.
But it's sad too. It's sort of like, I was like when like pop stars start off like not young, but like there are stars who had more wholesome images towards the beginning that gets like, it seems like they're
Britney.
kind of, like that. But like, they start off in a more neutral position, but then they're forced to go in a sexualized route because unfortunately, whether people like to admit it or not, sex will always sell.
Sure, but why does it have to also be R-word selling?
Also, I would push back. I thought that R-word fantasies were more of a woman thing than a man, given the novelizations.
Well, the show actually acknowledges that. I don't know if you've seen this clip. It got posted on Twitter a bunch. It's Lily Rose Depp's character and her friend talking about Tedros, the cult leader. Yeah. And her friend goes like, I don't like him. He kind of gives me rapey vibes. And then Jocelyn goes, I don't know. That's kind of what I like about him. Teehee.
They never like it when it's like.
Is that a male fantasy or a female fantasy?
It's a female fantasy when he's tall, handsome, good looking, and rich. It's not
when
a female.
It's The Weeknd, not so much.
Well, no, but I mean, he's like, but if
all
it's,
he's got is rich.
All he's got is rich. But I'm saying, like, you know what I'm saying, right? Like, there's some great TikToks and like Instagram videos that satirize this, where it's like, yeah, if he's rich, has a mansion, then you have the fantasy about it because it's not actually R-word. Mm-hmm. You actually want to do it. It's about the consent and the forcefulness by which he pursues you that they find attractive about it. Mm-hmm. But in this case, yeah, if he's short, ugly, and poor, then it becomes a nightmare and a bad one at that real fast.
Yeah. I think that they might have changed it from 5 episode count or from 6 to 5 because they're rewriting the whole thing as they get criticism.
Oh, I think this show's been finished and produced for a long time.
They're reworking it. They had like this production hell going on since the beginning where they had to rewrite like 80% of the show. Yep. So as criticism comes out for the depravity of the show, they're like reworking it so it can end faster.
I don't think that they would even, because it would cost money to do that. It would cost less money to just release it and get it over with than to rewrite it. Like it's
also
not
a joke that any show would have a 5-episode season.
It's really funny. Like, I like it.
What happened to TV? It used to be like 20 episodes a season, lots of filler.
I love 22 episode seasons of shows. Some of my favorite shows have like, my favorite episodes are very rarely the big important ones. My favorite episodes are the ones where they have like no money left in the budget for that quarter.
Like Riverdale. Yeah. Riverdale just ended and that's the last show of its kind, really.
All the network shows are still 22 episodes and they're
watching them,
and they're 42 minutes. No, they're okay. So I was just looking at something recently where they were talking about the Succession season finale did like, they're like, it was the biggest number of the show, 4.2 million live, and they're like, random episode of NCIS on a Wednesday, 12 million.
Yeah.
Like, it's old people that still watch that stuff.
Looks like the premiere of The Idol got 3.6 million viewers.
Yeah.
For a week.
Oh yeah, that's true. Mighty Rax points out Sherlock was only 3 episodes, but that's British, and they're
British TV was always like 6 episodes a season, but now all TV is like that.
Gosh, I love those first few seasons of Sherlock.
They were good.
They're so like the one with the memory palace is still one of my favorites. I want to visit Appledore, the house. Like you can go to that house still. The guy who owns
it an Airbnb?
It probably is. There's a $20 super chat there from Superpowers. I'm going to make sure there wasn't an S there. Superpowers. He
said, men want to win her heart. Women want to tame the beast. Both end with boredom.
Oh. They're saying 12 to 15 episodes is ideal. Look, I don't even like that, because what I love about the 22 episode format, it's because I have no attachment to finishing things. I could watch, if there's a show that's 22 episodes long and episode 21 is where it gets boring for me, I will just stop. I have no need, like, I don't have any sense of completionism when it comes to television. So I like that most of those shows that are that many episodes are only about 40 minutes with no ads, right? Everything is now, it's all 56 to 70 minutes. I don't want to watch that much stuff for that long.
I don't want to watch a movie.
No, I want to watch a movie because it's one movie.
Well, no, like a 6-part.
Yeah, I don't want to watch like
series.
I made the exception
each
for
one is like a movie.
And most of it, it's just one thing is also is that they didn't. They haven't quite mastered how to effectively make stuff in that format. It was worse when streaming first became popular, because they were still making shows as if it was like a 22 episode season, but it would only be the Netflix Daredevil was or the Netflix like Marvel shows were a perfect example of this. All of these shows were 12 episodes long, 12 or 13 episodes long. They never needed to be 8 tops. They never needed to be as many as they did. And I would have been fine with that if they were shorter, but they were longer. So there was always a bunch of filler that just didn't work as well. And then they made the Defenders, where they cram all of the Marvel characters in Netflix together, and they only made it 8 episodes. Why would you make the solo shows 12 episodes and the team-up show 8 episodes?
We got one from Dave Gazzulli. He said, bottle episodes make for good TV. If they can't rely on great special effects and memorable, expensive set design, they have to focus on character development and great plot lines. Not always, but it does happen. That's
the best example I always give is it's the episode Diary of a Cigarette Smoking Man from the X-Files. 90% of the episode takes place in a warehouse that's very clearly a soundstage. And it's just the cigarette smoking man looking through a sniper rifle at I almost said the Lonely Island, at the Lone Gunman. And then it's got some flashbacks to him in his youth, and a lot of like stock images of like the Kennedy assassination and Martin Luther King and all this stuff. They did a lot with very little. Mm-hmm. And that was the sign of great television, is when they can do less, can do more with less.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, like I get what you're saying. Like I worry about this type of censorship, because I would rather let the art exist and let the parents take responsibility for their kids. But in the case of The Idol, like, I just think it's stupid and bad, and very clearly from a director who doesn't really seem to be in the way of creating a lot of story. Now, if you want to talk about Euphoria, where we're talking about the fact that they're portraying underage people, we can talk more about that. But if it's just a bunch of like distasteful adults having sex, I think that's more in the realm of the parents should be paying a closer attention to it. We could have the discussion about whether, like, I've never looked at HBO's like settings. I don't have any kids, so I've never looked at the kids' settings on it to see like what shows up. Like, can you get to The Idol well in kids mode?
Yeah, I haven't looked into.
I would have to look into that. So we'll see.
I think this is going to get spun as a win for the Parents TV Council anyway, because it's going to get canceled for being a flop.
It's going to be funny.
And then they're going to be like, it was because of our aggressive canvassing.
So please donate to us.
So donate.
Like, but it's going to be funny if then HBO gets like really, really defensive. Like, oh, by the way, we cancel it, but not because of you. Like,
yeah, it's just like sad that they gave Sam Levinson this carte blanche budget and big stars only because he made Euphoria, which was equally degenerate. if not worse, for portraying high schoolers.
It's so funny because, like I said, watched Veronica Mars, watched a bunch of old, One Tree Hill. It's really funny. You watch these old shows, and even when they discuss sex, like they have these discussions where it's like the kids take it very seriously. It's a big deal. They worry about what other people think. The girls have that conversation where they say like, I don't like everybody else. You literally hear the conversation like everybody else is doing it. And then they're like, don't let them peer pressure you into do it. And the parents have to have that discussion. They're like, it has to be somebody you really care about. You have to love them. Like, they just don't do that anymore because they just assume that everybody's a degenerate.
Because Reason said, too many episodes are for suckers. You get strung along waiting for something to eventually happen. I will forgive it if it's at least funny.
I don't really get strung along. I'm just along for the ride. I quit as soon as
I liked Gossip Girl, which was like 22 episodes per season, 40 minutes an episode, just because like I can pay half attention and still enjoy it.
Veronica Mars is like that. Like Veronica Mars is like it's really funny too because like she really is the oldest looking high school student too. She wasn't even that old either. Like in the realm of like actors who have played high school students, I think what's his name? Rob, not Moreau. The dude from Surf Ninjas. He was like 36 and he plays a teenager.
Got one from
Rob
Francisco
Schneider.
Sanchez Jr. He said, I have a 2-episode rule similar to my 2-strike restaurant rule. If I'm feeling unfulfilled, I dip out and never come back. I'll wait. Thank you.
It's party time.
There's just too much out there, so why stick around when a show gives me bad vibes?
I don't even have a 2-episode rule, dog. I give you 15 minutes. If I'm not good in 15 minutes, I'm out of there. I am out, and I'm never coming back.
90210 similarly was like portraying teenagers in adult situations, and it was adults playing teens.
Yeah.
But it can be done in a tasteful way that isn't just pornography. And if you're interested in watching pornography, then you know where to find it, and it shouldn't be on mainstream platforms, in my opinion.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.